In today's tutorial we're going to work on the Easy Peasy Crochet Baby Blanket. This is a really unique style. This is like granny squares, but it's done in the horizontal, so it's not around in the circles. Really quite easy to do, and this is a great for a charity project as well as a gift for somebody that you love. Let's begin to do that right after this. Welcome back to the Crochet Crowd as well as yarnspirations.com. I'm your host Mikey. Today we're going to work on this Easy Peasy Crochet Baby Blanket. This is just like a granny square, but it is not a square. It does appear to be a square, but you work at it going horizontal up and up like this, so not round in circles. Really quite easy to do. It's a Caron 1 pound yarn. It's asking for 2 balls, also a size J 6mm crochet hook today in order to solve this. Now I will tell you that when I was 15 years old, my second blanket that I ever did was like this. The only difference that I did is I doubled up on the strands, so I used 2 strands at one time. It doubled up the thickness, making it warmer. So if that's an option that's for you, or even a lapgan for somebody that may be in a wheelchair for charity reasons, it's a great way to use up your yarn, and I used a lot of spare yarn at the same time in order to really make a really cool afghan at the same time. So let's go on in this pattern. Let me show you a little bit more about this, and then we'll get started with the stitch work right after this. On page number 2 you're going to see what is called a diagram key. This is also for beginners, this particular pattern. So you're going to notice that you have the diagram and you can see it's going back and forth. Okay, so you see black and then blue, black and then blue. It's going up, and then this border is done after everything is done, and you go all the way around. So these T-shaped looking ideas are called double crochets that you see here. You can see that the double crochets work in 2 spaces in between 3 double crochets from the group below. The period is a slip stitch and the oval is a chain. Now I also figured this out. If you want to make this even bigger from what you see, the chain counts are in multiples of 3 plus 1. What does that mean if you're a beginner? It means that you can either take your calculator and times 3 by a certain number to give you that, and then add 1 chain. But what I like to do is that I chain 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 until I get to the size that I want, and then I just have to add 1 chain at the end before I begin to do all the fancy stitch work that you see here. So that's what's called as a multiple of 3 plus 1. So let me show you how to get started, and I will show you how to do the border as well. The border, especially on the sides here, is really kind of subjective to you on where you put it in, but I will show you tips on how to do that as well. So this is a combination of using 4 different rows to get started, and then once you see the repeat pattern is really quite easy at the same time. It's like the granny square. So let's begin to do this next. So using a size J crochet hook today and some Caron 1 pound yarn, we're going to create a slip knot. Remember that there are slower tutorials available for specific stitches if you need them here if you're a beginner. So as I promised you, it's in sets of multiples of what we had is in 3 plus 1, but if you're looking at the instructions and want to do the baby blanket just like you see, you have to just chain 115. If you like to customize it, you can do what I'm about to do. So you just chain in multiples of 3. So 1 2 3, and then you look at it, is it big enough, yes or no? If not, 1 2 3, and then 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 and 1 2 3. Please don't email me and ask me how many chains it does to take like to make a bigger size blanket. What I would do is put this chain down on something that you already have, and then you can get the sizing from that. So this chain would equal the size. Don't stretch your chain, just let it relax and just lie it down on something that you already want. So let's begin to do we have to, once we get that, we have to add 1 chain at the end. So it's multiples of 3 plus 1, and if you're doing the pattern you would have chained 115. Let's begin to do the next one. To begin, what we have to do is we have to count back for the 5th chain from the hook. So we look back underneath there and say this is 1 2 3 4 5. Turn the chain over and get the back hump only and double crochet into that one, and I want you to double crochet into that one 3 times. So 1, the same chain again, 2 and 3. So that's one group of 3 double crochets. So in this particular pattern we don't chain 1 in between these groups, we simply just continue to move along. So we just have to skip over 2 empty chains, so 1 and 2, go to the 3rd, and in the 3rd one put in 3 more double crochets. You're gonna do that all the way across your chain regardless in the size. Okay, so there's gonna be 3 double crochets here. Okay, so then skip over 2, so 1 and 2, go to the 3rd and double crochet again. 3 times into that same space or same chain. Always starting on a project, if you're a beginner, always a little bit slower, but once you get started it goes pretty quick. Skip 2, go to the 3rd again, 3 more double crochets. So you're gonna do this all the way across your particular chain. Doesn't matter which size, it's all gonna be the same. Okay, skip 2, go to the 3rd, and you will be left with 2 chains at the end of this when you're all done. And so we're on the end, we'll be ending the same way, all of us. We're only gonna skip 1, and in the final chain we're just gonna put in 1 double crochet in there. And that makes sense because watch when I hold it up, you're gonna appear that you have your chain that I'm holding it over here. See where my finger is moving? And you got your chain counts as a double crochet, and this is a double crochet standing by itself on this side where my thumb is moving, and you can see they're all balanced. Let's move along to row number 2. So let's turn our work, and this is when it gets easy. Okay, so whenever you are starting on row number 2, you're always gonna start off the same way. Now the thing about it is that these groups of 3 can never appear on top of each other, so the next group of 3 will be in these spaces that are in between, just like that. So we have to then assume, because we have a space here, that we have to put a partial, so we can't put a full 3 in because then it'll be unbalanced. So how we start row number 2 is that we're gonna chain 3, which counts as a double crochet, and we come right into the space and we add another double crochet in like this. So now we're just gonna look for the spaces in between the groups of 3, and we're just gonna put in 3 double crochets into each. Really quite simple. And so we're just gonna put 3 in. Okay, once you get that done, come to the next space, again another 3, and you do that all the way across your line. Okay, come into the next space, just do your groups of 3. So how you started with this is that you had 1 chaining of 3 and 1 double crochet standing by itself at the end. So we have to consider that when we're getting all the way to the other side. So continue just to work across and putting in 3 double crochets into each one of the spaces in between. Okay, so now here's the last one, but you can see I have over here, there's a space right here, so you have to finish this one and only put 2 double crochets in. So you can't put the full 3 in there because then it will be unbalanced. Okay, so like we started here, we did chain 3 and then 1 double crochet by itself, and then we did our 3s all the way, and on the very end you have your 2 double crochets at the end. Let's turn our work and move up to row number 3. So row number 3, again very easy, just chaining up 3. So this time the space is closer to the edge, so we only chain up 3, which counts as a double crochet, and so we just immediately jump to this chain to the space here and put in 3 double crochets right away. Okay, like that, and then you just put in 3 double crochets into each one of the spaces that are in between the groups of 3 in the row below. So the rows can only start in 2 different ways, just like I had showed you already in the past, and then in this row. Okay, that's it. That's really quite easy. But what we want to pay attention to is that we need to pay attention to what row we finish on. So the row that we're gonna finish on will be one more, I'm gonna do one more row of row number 2, and that will make it so that it will be even all the way around. So you have to be conscientious of that. You'll read that in the pattern as well. So I'm coming up into the final space like so, and then I just double crochet into the top of the chain 3 chain. Okay, so just 1 double crochet by itself. So it's just like you had right here. See, 1's by itself, this one's got 2, this one's 1. Same thing at the other side. So you got 1 by itself, 2, and then 1. Let's turn our work and just repeat one more row of row number 2, and let's begin to do that. So we start off chaining a 3, so 1 2 3, and we come right into the space and we add another double crochet in. So if you're ever confused, just remember one row is gonna have 2, the next one is just gonna have 1, so this must be 2. Let's just do 3 double crochets into each one of these spaces going all the way across. And you can do this as big as you want to go. So you can go as wide as you need it to go when you started your chain, and now you can go as tall as you need to go, as long as you don't run out of yarn in order to make this. Now this is the baby size according to the pattern, so you'll see that you'll be stopping around the 40-inch mark when you're going to do this. Again, that's subjective to you. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna come all the way to the end here. So what do we gotta do? Okay, so we have a chain space there, so we're just gonna put in 2 double crochets in the final, just like that. And that makes sense because you got 2 here, 1 here, 2 here. Okay, so now let's show you how to go all the way around on this in order to do a border. So let's turn our work and start doing a border. So your blanket obviously will be bigger. So we want to start off with, and we want to chain 3, which counts as a double crochet, and what we want to do is we want to match the stitches that are going across the top. So every double crochet is gonna get a double crochet going across. So the uppers and the bottoms really are no problem at all for what you need to do for this particular afghan. It's the sides that are really gonna throw you for a loop if you're a new crocheter, but I don't want you to give up on yourself because it's really not hard. You just have to be consistent is all. I don't bother to count stitches. I just kinda eye it up as I go. As long as the afghan can sit flat and it doesn't appear to be buckling, so it doesn't pull out of shape, and as long as there's not too many so it doesn't ruffle, then you know you've done a great job. So you're gonna come up all the way to the other side, just 1 double crochet into each, and so you have 2 here, so you got 1, and the next one will be in your corner. So in the corners you always have to put in 5 double crochets so it will turn around easily. So this is 2, 3, 4, and 5. Let's try that 5th one again. So now that we're working on the side, I'm gonna try a 5th one for the final time here, and now you just gotta equally space out what you have. You can look at the diagram, and so you will see that sometimes you just have to eye it out. Never go into a space if you can avoid it, but you can if you want to, if it makes it easier for you on this particular sample. If this was a solid afghan I would recommend not to, but because this has open work on it you can get away with it. So I'm gonna put 2 single crochets into this space here. I'm gonna put a double crochet right into this area here, and then here's another space here. So I'm just eyeing it out to make it look flat. So here's another corner here. So in the corner, remember what it was, is 5 double crochets. That's right, I'm going all the way around. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now we come along the bottom. But you're gonna notice the bottom is that you have these gapping spaces. So I go into the bottom section here for a double crochet, and do you remember how many chains you skipped when you did in between? If you said 2, you're right. So you're just gonna put in 2 double crochets into that same space to make it look even, and then come up to the next bottom one. Notice how I'm trapping in that straggler on top, so I'm making it that it's part of it so that you'll never see where you started on this afghan. Come to the bottom. Okay, the next one is to chain 2 so that I'm putting in 2 double crochets. Okay, coming up all the way across. So I'm gonna turn my corner again very shortly. This one here, and now I'm gonna turn. So this next final space I'm gonna put in my 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and I'm gonna come up the side like I did on the last one. Okay, so I'm just gonna eye it out. I'm not counting my stitches, just kind of working it out as I go. And I'm gonna go in the space here for 2, and coming into the, okay, so here I have here, this is where I started, so I wanna make sure that I'm looking for that. So where I started here is exactly what I'm gonna do, is that I'm gonna put in my 5 double crochets right in the corner. So the chaining of 3 counts as one of them. So don't forget, then you'll end up with just 4 double crochets in the same section, and then you just join it to the top of the beginning chain 3 that you started with. And that would be how you would go all the way around just like this. It's really quite easy to do, and it's a really great project. So if you're looking for a great charity project, this is one of them. If you're looking for something for a gift or somebody that you love, or even for something for your home, this is a great one too. So until next time, I'm Mikey on behalf of the Crochet Crowd as well as yarnspirations.com. Have a great day.